struggle to get back to normal.
Well, you talk about the storm. You know what? Let's talk about Governor Scott. Do you think Governor Scott is doing or has done enough for Floridians? And if not, what would you do? Is there anything else you would do?
Well, I tell you, I got to give the governor credit.
The thing is, are you saying that the governor here should be holding these people more accountable, that this could have been avoided, or?
Well, I think we don't know that, and we shouldn't get ahead of the facts. What we got to ensure that they're taken care of.
All right, the Confederate controversy. Let's talk about that for a minute. You know, the deadly confrontation in Charlottesville, Virginia. Let's see, the call to remove statues and monuments commemorating these Confederate leaders. There are several Confederate monuments. One of them is in downtown Tallahassee, where you're the mayor. What is your stance on that?
Well, it's sitting on the grounds of the state's capitol, or remind them of some inadequacy.
But it's stood there, but they've stood there for so long.
Of course, and unfortunately, they haven't always been weaponized the way that they have been of recent. Now, and not as places of glorification.
All right, climate change. Basically, the critics of the governor say that he has essentially ignored it. Now we've seen Irma, we've seen Harvey in Texas. What is your position on this? If his critics are saying he's ignored it.
Well, I mean, the governor says he's not a scientist and therefore can't say whether or not global warming is real. I think there's an economy in dealing with it as well.
I've got 1 minute and I've got two questions, and I'll make my questions quick.
Okay.
The last time we had a Democratic governor back in 1998, and Republicans have been in office ever since, obviously. You've said that you were a clear choice and not, quote, Republican light. You're offering something different. What is it that's different?
Well,
15 seconds.
I think, one, I have an authentic story and an authentic experience of growing up in this state. Two,
welcome back. In this morning's Sunday Spotlight, we turn to the already crowded race for Hillsborough County Commission. As Commissioner Sandy Merman jumps from the District 1 race, which includes downtown and South Tampa, to another race for countywide seat, some other candidates are jumping in. One of them is 33-year-old Tampa businessman Akash Patel. Again, a Tampa businessman and Republican candidate. He's live here in the studio as our guest this morning. Akash, good to see you.
Paul, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us this morning. You know, we've interviewed so many candidates before for so many races. This is your first run for elected office. Why now, and why for this race? You just fresh blood in the race? You're tired of the same old politics? What?
Yeah, I've been in Hillsborough County. This is the best time. We live in the best city. Why I announced in June to take this opportunity.
So you believe you have the proven track record and the number, age, 33. Do you think that matters to the typical voter out there?
It does. They want. You know, we need to create the government that we want to see represented.
In Republican circles, you're fairly well connected, especially with the governor. You were appointed by him to Hillsborough's Early Learning Coalition. You have strong ties to Tampa. All that said, the #1 issue that you're hearing from voters is what?
Transportation.
I've seen it change over the years. I remember the old Howard Franklin Bridge, one span, 2 lanes going each way, potholes in the lanes, a fence in the middle. What do you see now? How can we relieve the transportation issues we have here?
We have to build consensus with our state government.
Do you back a stadium actually being built here in Hillsborough County? And if so, under what conditions?
I love baseball. We were at the baseball game Tuesday night before we can back that stadium.
So if we need to see a plan, what's in your head right now as far as a proposed plan goes?
Finding a public-private partnership with the business community and our county.
Is that possible? I mean, I've been reporting here for years, and, you know, it seems like this is an ongoing issue, like the pier. It had been an ongoing issue for so long. The pier is basically resolved. Will the raise, do you believe, finally get resolved, and we can do something about it here for our area?
I think from what Major League Baseball has told the community, but it's up to baseball to decide if they want to invest in HIPAA.
All right. As we were talking with our Facebook Live viewers, you're the son of Indian immigrants, and I'm curious, how does that shape your view when it comes to DACA and the large immigrant population here in Hillsborough County, many of whom go to school here? How does that shape your view?
Yeah, my mom was born in India, my dad was born in Africa. I'm very fortunate that I have the opportunity to do this.
See, you're fortunate, but there would be so many others who are not fortunate, whose voices would not be heard.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem.
Welcome back. The cleanup continues throughout Florida, including right here in the Bay Area, after Hurricane Irma created plenty of devastation and destruction here. Joining us to talk more about this morning, Capitol correspondent Mike Vasalinda. Good morning, Mike. And Governor Rick Scott has ordered every nursing home in the state to install a generator that's capable of powering air conditioning after the deaths of those 10 people at that rehabilitation center in Hollywood Hills in South Florida. Now, the association representing many of these homes, I understand, met this past week to talk about it. What are they saying?
Well, you know, this is not the first time that the nursing homes have been in the generator mix, which this year will start in January.
The cost of air conditioning versus the cost of a life, Mike. And, you know, we're also starting to see political overtones that are stemming from these deaths. Senator Bill Nelson and Governor Scott each calling them preventable. Are you surprised by that?
No, I'm not. And there is certainly going to be part of a Nelson Scott campaign.
We'll see how that does flush out, Mike. And, you know, finally this morning, the House Speaker creating a special committee to study ideas to prevent some of the problems, such as the shortage of gas and water supplies for future storms. Do you think this is going to go anywhere?
Well, you know, he is the Speaker of the House. The good news was there wasn't a lot of structural damage, so they could have put stuff in a lot different places and gotten it to people sooner, I think.
So there was definitely some good news out of that. All right, no doubt much more to come on Hurricane Irma and the cleanup and legislation. Mike, thank you so much. And that is the very latest from Tallahassee this morning. Much more to come. We'll be right back.